Material Activation Part 1. Converting to Drawing Pencils. Observation is important, but focusing on only one thing all the time can get boring, right? We've already checked some of the important points. So now let's pause the observation for a moment and move into practical exercises by working directly with the materials. Today, we'll learn about pencil activation. Before we begin, I'll briefly explain the materials and setup. There are recommended materials. Let me explain the materials first. You've probably prepared 4B, 2B, 6B, and 3H pencils. If you use 8 4B pencils, the ratio is usually about 4 2B pencils, 2 6B pencils, and 1 3H pencil. Next is the blending stump. It's a material that will be used frequently later for applying graphite and building tone. If the eraser is too soft, the graphite can smear, so we'll use a relatively firm eraser. Next is the pencil extender. It's about the size that fits comfortably in one hand. You can twist the end to insert the pencil. Insert the pencil and tighten it again. This is how it's used. There are long aluminum extenders like this. But when you repeatedly insert and remove pencils, the inside can wear down. Then the pencil starts to wobble. That's why I recommend a short twist type extender that fits comfortably in one hand. For the cutter knife, a regular small utility knife is enough. Next is the drafting brush. After erasing, if the pencil passes over eraser dust, small bits of eraser can get pressed into the paper like dots. So this brush is used to sweep away the eraser dust in between. This is Kent paper 130 GSM in 8-cut size. The thickness changes depending on the paper weight. As paper gets thicker, the texture also becomes rougher. For smaller sizes like 8-cut paper, around 130 GSM works well. This is a 5mm MDF drawing board in 8-cut size. Choose a size that matches your paper. If the MDF is too thin, it can bend. About 5mm is appropriate. The one I'm showing right now is actually 4-cut size. These clips are used to secure the paper to the board. Use smaller clips so they don't cover too much of the paper. For the pencil case, anything that can store your materials is fine. But if erasers and pencils are stored touching each other, the pencil's plastic coating can react with the rubber. This creates a sticky green residue. If the pencil and eraser are left touching like this, they can melt into each other and swell. What you see here is that green sticky residue. If it gets onto the paper, it becomes very difficult to restore. So it's important to use a case that separates them. If your case doesn't separate them, simply store the eraser inside plastic. Then it'll still be safe, even if they're stored together. Now let me introduce some additional tools that are useful to prepare. An easel is optional, and drawing on a desk is completely fine. But using an easel gives you a wider field of view compared to drawing flat on a desk. A wider field of view helps a lot when managing the drawing as a whole. An art bag is used for storing or transporting finished work. It also helps slow down paper discoloration. Fixative is used to secure the graphite after the drawing is finished. You can think of it as coating the drawing. Now let's move on to the setup process. Place the drawing board on the desk or easel. Then place the paper on top and clip it in place. Paper has a front and back side. The front side is smoother, and the back side is rougher. One way to check is by touching both sides. Find the smoother side through touch. Another method is to slightly curl the paper and overlap it, then look at it under light. The smoother side will reflect differently. You can also rub graphite lightly on both sides. The side where less white texture shows through is the smoother side. Compare them like this. The side with less visible white texture is the smoother side. The smoother side is the front. Always prepare the paper with the front side facing up. It's also good to place your reference image in the remaining space on the drawing board. Though realistically, many of you won't have extra space. In that case, just place the reference on the desk beside you. Now let's convert the pencil into a drawing pencil. Pencils are used for many different purposes. Depending on the method, they can produce many different types of expression. You can use them for writing, crocus, drawing, sketching, or academic rendering. Each approach uses the pencil differently. Adjusting the pencil according to its purpose is what I call activation. In this lesson, we'll transform this pencil specifically for drawing. The most important material in graphite drawing is the pencil itself. Pencils are usually categorized as H, HB, and B. B stands for black, and H stands for hard. The scale depends on the ratio of graphite and clay inside the lead. HB sits in the center as the standard. To the right are 2B, 4B, 6B, up to 9B. To the left are 2H, 4H, 6H, up to 9H. There are also skipped numbers like 3, 5, 7, and 8. But the difference between adjacent grades is subtle, so jumping in steps of 2 is usually enough. In practice, the darkest possible value of most pencils is fairly similar. Let me explain the actual differences while drawing. As the B number increases, the lead becomes softer and thicker. More graphite transfers onto the paper. As a result, the marks appear darker. As the H number increases, the lead becomes harder and thinner. Less graphite transfers onto the paper, so the marks appear lighter. The reason I often use B pencils for drawing is because the lead hardness is balanced. They make pressure control easier, and they damage the paper less. When using H pencils, the lead is so hard that it can scratch the paper like a needle. So be careful. The pencils I mainly use are 4B, 2B, 6B, and 3H. Each one has a different role. I'll explain those roles in detail later. Now let's learn how to sharpen the pencil. I'll show you how to sharpen a pencil specifically for drawing activation. We'll expose about 1 centimeter of wood and 1 centimeter of lead. Think of the total exposed length as around 2 to 2.5 thiames. The hand holding the pencil rotates the pencil. Use your thumb to push the knife forward. The hand holding the knife should not press downward. Just lightly assist the forward push with your thumb. Rotate the pencil as you sharpen. Let's first make the 1 centimeter wood and 1 centimeter lead shape. Keep rotating the pencil while sharpening. Do not press downward with the knife hand. Push using your thumb. Now we've exposed about 1 centimeter of wood and 1 centimeter of lead. At this point, remove your thumb and gently push the knife forward to smooth the wood. If the wood surface is uneven, it can catch on the paper depending on the pencil angle. So smooth the wood first, then sharpen the graphite to a point. Rotate it continuously. Do not push downward. Push forward instead. Keep rotating the pencil and sharpen the lead to a sharp point. Be careful not to apply too much pressure here, or the lead can break. Now the pencil with 1 centimeter of wood and 1 centimeter of lead is complete. The reason we don't use a standard sharpener is because it cannot create this shape. This exposed length is directly related to the usable drawing surface of the lead. That makes it extremely important in my drawing method. Now let's learn how to hold the pencil. Get used to always attaching the pencil extender. It helps maintain grip consistency. Attach it firmly and tighten it. Some people use it loosely without tightening it. Holding it like this is the writing grip. It allows detailed control over small areas, but the lines become too strong and your field of view becomes narrow. I only use this grip occasionally during final detailing. Next is the index finger grip. This is often used early on when your filling pressure feels too weak. It's good for creating dark tones, but not ideal for nuanced pressure control. Next is the thumb grip. Hold it with 2 fingers like this, while the other fingers wrap around naturally. This is the final stage of grip control. It takes time to get comfortable with, but drawing with the hand lifted off the surface is ideal for detail, pressure control, and maintaining a wide field of view. The pinky finger also has an important role. If you're not used to drawing with the hand lifted, or when working on a specific area, it acts as a support. You can also use different contact points of the fingers. The fingertip, the fingernail, the first joint, or the second joint. The ideal goal is to eventually draw with the hand lifted. The thumb grip. Once your skill improves, there are no strict limits on grip styles. But for beginners, it's good to progress step by step from writing grip to index grip, and finally to thumb grip. Now let me explain posture in addition to grip. Different parts of the arm are used depending on how you move the pencil. Usually this changes according to line length. When drawing lines wider than your shoulder width, lock the wrist and elbow, extend the arm, and move from the shoulder as the pivot. When drawing within a narrower range than your shoulder width, lock the wrist and use the elbow as the pivot. Move using whichever body part acts as the pivot. For short lines, use the wrist as the pivot. Depending on the pivot, your field of view and the resulting marks will change. When using the shoulder pivot, when using the elbow pivot, when using the wrist pivot. Like this, it's helpful to change the moving part depending on the drawing range. Now I'll explain the exact usable range of the pencil lead. If you hold the pencil like writing, it becomes a 100% scratching sensation with strong pressure. This is used when making sharp points with a narrow contact area. If you lay the side of the lead broadly against the paper, it becomes a 100% depositing sensation with low pressure. When using the wide side softly, you get a powdery texture. Later, we'll use this mainly for adjusting tones after graphite application. This line uses a 50-50 balance between scratching and depositing. Pressure standards vary from person to person, so use this only as a reference. This is the method I use most often. Create a narrow beveled surface, then use the pencil with a balance between scratching and depositing. If the pencil is too sharp, rub it lightly against the paper to create the bevel. Like this. This middle range starts behaving less like a line and more like a small plane. Instead of building forms by gathering lines, I believe the practical approach is to build large planes by gathering small planes. Now we'll establish how to use lines. Drawing is fundamentally composed of lines, but visible lines themselves are not ideal. Earlier, we talked about the three-dimensional principle of planes meeting planes. Using that principle as a foundation, we'll establish a structured practice method. Rather than focusing on mastering flashy line control, our goal is to transform lines into planes. As we discussed in texture generation, all textures begin from smoothness. So first, let's create smooth planes. We'll work on 2 sheets together. One will focus on practicing smooth, flat surfaces, and the other will be a simple silhouette study. Prepare your reference image. 2 sheets of Kent paper, 2B, 4B, and 6B pencils, and an eraser. First, check the front and back of the paper and place the smooth side facing up. At first, use the 4B pencil to create the narrow bevel we practiced earlier. We'll draw horizontal lines according to the usage range we established. After lightly shaping the bevel, use the shoulder to create long lines. The value produced here is called tone in drawing. Relax the pressure at both ends of the stroke. If you relax the pressure, it becomes easier to continue connecting strokes. Like this, you can continue the stroke naturally. If too much force enters the stroke, the line will hook or stop abruptly. That can be useful for broken strokes, but since force usually increases, practice by relaxing both ends. As you continue drawing, the bevel may become too wide. Then the line itself becomes too broad. When that happens, the depositing sensation becomes too dominant. So slightly raise the pencil angle again and maintain the narrow bevel you originally established. This should stay around 50% scratching and 50% depositing. As mentioned earlier, this is essentially a small plane rather than a line. Maintain the tone, keep the spacing as tight as possible, and relax the pressure at both ends. Also, while drawing, do not let the contact area become too wide. Continue maintaining the original 50-50 range you established. Now let's fill an entire plane. Check your progress from time to time.
중간중간 체크를 해보세요. 어떤 선을 쓰고 있는지.
We've come down once now. The spacing is still uneven and the tone isn't consistent. Let's repeat the process about 2 more times. One more pass. Now we've circulated about 3 times with minimal spacing. We relaxed the pressure at both ends, maintained the original tone, and repeated the process. You can still see empty spaces between the graphite particles. Now I'll explain overlapping. In graphite drawing, lines must overlap in order to build planes and tone. The direction of overlap is extremely important. If lines overlap at too large of an angle like this, cross-hatching and grid patterns appear. These patterns interfere with creating smooth surfaces. So either keep using the same angle or shift only by about 1-2 degrees. Here I change the angle only slightly. As you repeat the strokes, the angle may gradually widen. Once that happens, grid and hatching textures appear. So keep the angle difference as small as possible. If the angle feels like it's getting too wide, it's actually better to return to the exact same direction. The reason is simple. Our goal is to create smooth planes. Since the pencil has worn down quite a bit, replace or resharpen it once. When overlapping strokes like this, the pressure usually becomes stronger, making the tone darker. The important point here is not to darken the original tone. Instead, overlap using an even lighter pressure. This method fills only the empty spaces in the paper texture, while preserving the original tone. To make tone control easier, we'll continue using a 2B pencil. 2B creates slightly thinner marks than 4B. Use it with about a 50-50 scratching and depositing balance. That way, a lighter tone than the original layer will fill the surface. We'll proceed in a way that fills only the paper texture, without making the overall tone darker. Shift the angle by only 1-2 degrees and continue downward. If the angle starts widening, simply correct it again. Let's make one pass. We've filled one pass now. As you move downward, calm the urge to rush. Slowly keep the spacing tight and continue downward. Let's repeat it 2 more times. One more pass. By now your shoulder probably hurts. That's completely normal. Now we've practiced building large planes through line exercises, but we're not done yet. Using the same method, we'll now draw an animal and landscape silhouette. Please prepare the silhouette reference. The reference shows a sheep standing in a field, with sky and clouds behind it. The goal of this session is not to copy the image perfectly. This is still part of material activation. I prepared this exercise because repetitive flat filling alone would become boring. The grass, sheep, and sky each occupy roughly 1/3 of the vertical composition. We'll learn accurate construction methods later. For now, just block things in freely while shading. We'll start with the darkest area, the grass and the sheep, using a 6B pencil. Let's begin with horizontal strokes. Mark roughly the 1/3 point on the paper. Then place the sheep around the 2/3 area. Just indicate the approximate position. The shape doesn't have to match perfectly. Right now, this is still material activation practice. From here, let's build the ground plane. Compared to the previous plane exercise, set this one slightly darker. Let's lightly indicate the sheep silhouette as well. It's okay if your line quality or marks don't match mine exactly. Just follow the same direction and approach. After circulating about 2 times, roughly establish the plan. Again, the shapes do not need to match perfectly. Right now, we are learning the process of creating planes with pencils. We'll study form construction later. Using a 4B pencil, fill in the distant dark clouds near the horizon as planes. Be careful to maintain the established contact area of the lead. The bevel thickness should be about this size. Repeat the circulation about twice. Next, using the 2B pencil, fill in the entire sky tone, excluding the white clouds. You don't absolutely have to divide the pencils like this yet. But I want you to experience different pencils during activation. The proper method for separating pencil rolls will be covered in later lessons. For now, the goal is simply to experience different materials. Now we've established 3 stages of tone in the drawing: the darkest tone, the next darkest tone, and a relatively middle tone. Compared to the reference, the overall drawing is still lighter. Now circulate through the entire drawing again and gradually match the tones to the reference. Never try to finish one area completely before the others. From the darkest tone to the next darkest, and then the middle tone. The concept of circulation is the most important idea here. Those first 2 repeated passes establish the overall plan. You begin adjusting tones to match the reference. Planning comes before rendering. If you chase the reference immediately from the beginning, you develop the habit of rendering first. That makes it harder to deepen your understanding of drawing structure. After about 3 circulations, we've created tones similar to the reference. Because pencils alone cannot completely fill the paper texture, we'll move on to the next stage from here. To check whether the tones match, slightly squint your eyes and compare the drawing to the reference. When you squint, the image becomes blurred, creating the effect of viewing from farther away. That allows you to judge tone more accurately than form. If the overall drawing still feels too light, circulate once more using the appropriate pencil for each area. If the tones became too dark, don't worry. There's a method for correcting that in the next stage. Today we covered material introduction, setup, pencil sharpening, grip, and even plane construction using activated lines. Up to this point, nothing should feel overwhelmingly difficult. So take your time and follow along at your own pace. Review the lesson several times and continue practicing. Great work today. Thank you.